The Department of Justice, led by their new fearless leader, Pam Bondi, is now taking aim at New York State and their rogue governor, Kathy Hochul. All of this over their protection of hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens which now infest the state. The Department of Justice lawsuit against New York is primarily focusing on the state's green light law, which appears to be violating the law in a number of ways. Perhaps the biggest issue here is that they are giving illegal aliens driver's licenses, which is similar to how California does it. This further codifies illegal aliens' existence within their state, making it harder to find them and to deport them, which the Department of Justice claims interferes with federal immigration enforcement efforts because, of course, it does. The law also restricts federal immigration authorities from accessing the state's Department of Motor Vehicles data. Specifically, the law is blocking U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, from accessing the state's motor vehicle database, which prevents them from running license plates on driver licenses through the system.
And what New York has, they have green light laws, meaning they're giving a green light to any illegal alien in New York where law enforcement officers cannot check their identity if they pull them over. Law enforcement officers do not have access to their background. And if these great men and women pull over someone and don't have access to their background, they have no idea who they're dealing with. And it puts their lives on the line every single day.
The law also includes a provision that requires New York's DMV commissioner to promptly inform illegal aliens when a federal immigration agency is looking into them and requesting information, which is madness. It's insane, and it is highly illegal. And the Department of Justice is referring to this as a tip-off provision, and naturally are telling them that it is unconstitutional. Now, the Department of Justice is also alleging that the Green Light Law violates the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution by interfering with federal immigration policies, which, of course, it does. And the lawsuit is also taking issue with New York's broader sanctuary policies, which limit cooperation between local law enforcement and federal immigration authorities. So the bottom line is New York lawmakers are doing bad things, and now Pam Bondi is going to have to give them the legal spanking. Now let's turn to the New York Post. They talk about this. This is an article titled DOJ Announces Lawsuit Against New York, Hochul, and State Attorney General James over sanctuary status. Let's check out this clip of Pam Bondi herself.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. If you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois. Strike one. Strike two is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next. Get ready.
And the New York Post talks about what the complaint says, and it reads, the United States is currently facing a crisis of illegal immigration, and the federal government is set to put a stop to it. While states are welcome partners in that effort, it is the prerogative as separate sovereigns to refrain. But a state's freedom to stand aside is not a freedom to stand in the way. There you go. And where inaction crosses into obstruction, a state breaks the law. The state of New York is doing just that. It must be stopped. The filing added that the DMV information is critical for federal immigration agencies to identify and remove those who are here illegally and keep their offices safe. They said from vehicle stops to border crossings to executing arrests and searches, immigration authorities depend on these records to assess real-time the situations they face and the people that they encounter. But New York's green light law deprives them of this insight and in turn unnecessarily forces brave law enforcement officers into danger and uncertain circumstances. Hochul has been clear from day one. She supports deporting violent criminals who break the laws, believe that law-abiding families should not be targets, and will coordinate with federal authorities who have a judicial warrant. This is Hochul's press secretary saying in a statement before the lawsuit was fired. And good old Letitia James also fired back in a statement hours later saying, our laws include the green light law, protect the rights of all New Yorkers, including the criminals, and keep our communities safe except for those who are not criminals. I'm adding that just because, her statement is stupid. Anyway, she says, I'm prepared to defend our laws just as I always have. Now, a source familiar told the Post that Hochul and Trump had tentatively agreed to meet next week when she is in Washington, D.C. for the National Governors Association meeting. She's going to hang out with Big Daddy Trump. Now, last week, the Justice Department asked a federal judge to immediately strike down sanctuary policies in Illinois and Chicago, arguing state and local officials are an obstacle to the federal government's enforcement of the immigration laws and discriminate against federal immigration enforcement. Now, what makes all of this so vile is that Governor Kathy Hochul has recently admitted New York City has over 470,000 illegal aliens working there. They are essentially using these people as a permanent underclass workforce, and they aren't even trying to hide it anymore. The sheer number of illegal aliens working in New York is staggering. As a whole, they now make up roughly about 5% of the state's entire population, and they are swallowing up many jobs in the construction industry, food service, and childcare jobs. These are jobs that American citizens could use, especially considering the high unemployment rate. Governor Hochul is defending her city's reliance on the criminal aliens in her state. She is arguing that the crackdown on these illegal aliens would crush the New York economy, so we can't have that. We need our semi-slave state. She has claimed that mass deportation could lead to labor shortages, increased costs for goods and services, and potential job losses for U.S.-born workers if they're all deported. I don't know how she figures that last part, but, what are you going to do? See, illegal aliens have been allowed to fester in this country for a very long time, in large part because big business likes having their permanent underclass. These are people that they can pay less than American citizens, and they can bully on the job because, guess what? If there's fear of being deported or being reported and getting deported, it's easier to control these people. So while they're not precisely slaves, they are only a few steps above. They are a permanent underclass, a lower class of people, a less than. And the left loves bringing them over. They encourage it.
The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants. For all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented.
But now that there's a new sheriff in town, the party, it seems, is finally coming to an end. The DOJ is now once again defending America and American citizens. And so these bastions of illegal aliens in these sanctuary states will be hard-pressed to remain the way they are going forward.